At the zenith of their power, the Roman Empire stretched across Europe, northern Africa, and reached into the Middle East. It was not only the center of military power, it was also the focal point for the advancement of art, science, and architecture that reshaped the world. Arguably, the greatest strength of the empire was the impressive system of roads that allowed for quick movement of Roman forces to deal with threats from within and coming from the outside. However, by the 3rd century CE, the Roman Empire was wavering. A combination of political struggle, economic strife, the rise of Christianity, and the weakening of the legions led to Rome becoming vulnerable to the aggressive tribes moving in from Eastern Europe and Asia. Although not designed as a historic simulation, Pandemic Fall of Rome does recreate the situation that the Roman Empire faced in the 3rd century CE to its fall almost 200 years later. Across the map, players take charge of legions, build fortifications, and try to hold back the onslaught of barbarian tribes invading the Roman Empire. In the game, the invading tribes can come into the empire at any time. This compresses the nearly 2 centuries period of migrations. However, the end result is a game that presents challenges, which mimic to some degree the issues facing the Roman Empire during this time. The natural invasion routes into the Roman Empire were numerous, given the 2 million square miles that it covered. Although the tribes came from the east, some pushed north, such as the Anglo-Saxons, while others, like the Ostrogoths, pressed south toward Constantinople, the result being that the city became a focal point for the empire. However, for many years, the Roman legions, who were superior in terms of arms and training, managed to keep them at bay for many years. Despite all the struggles facing the Roman Empire, it might have been able to survive had it not been for the barbarian tribes migrating from the east. As internal instability starting in the 3rd century pulled the focus of the empire toward its own issues, various barbarian tribes began moving into Roman territory. Although not as well armed as the Romans, their sheer numbers combined with their fighting prowess made them a mortal threat. These tribes occupied the northern areas of the Roman Empire, with the Anglo-Saxons pushing mostly into the British Isles after the Romans left. The Franks stayed in Europe and formed alliances with the empire, but these agreements usually did not last long. Coming from what is now Poland, the Vandals almost joined the Roman Empire, only to see their leader assassinated. This led to the Vandal invasion and the sacking of Rome. Under the leadership of Attila, the Huns represented one of the greatest threats to the Roman Empire. Razing cities along northern Italy, Attila was finally halted in Gaul, but not without a heavy price. As part of the Goths, they were pushed into the empire by the Huns. A combination of famine and broken Roman promises led to their king, Alaric, to invade and sack the city of Rome. Also part of the Goths, they were subjugated by the Huns before migrating into what was left of the Western Roman Empire. Although dangerous, the Romans were able to hold back or at least limit much of the damage from these tribes, some through the use of legions, but in many cases by forging alliances. In game terms, the goal of the Roman player is to create enough alliances to achieve victory. This mimics to a certain degree the historic tactics of the empire to bring in warring tribes in exchange for land, support, and military service. Although initially advantageous, the practice of creating alliances helped promote the downfall of the Western Roman Empire. The volatility of the tribes combined with general unrest, lack of supplies, and in some cases outright revolt created an unstable situation which led to corruption from within. Despite all the challenges, the Roman Empire might have been in a stronger position if it were not for the series of incompetent leadership and overall corruption, self-interest in protecting their own wealth, while the oncoming barbarian tribes became more restless, was the last straw. This short-sighted approach, combined with the decline of the military, led to invasions that could no longer be held back. The fate of the Western Roman Empire was not shared by the eastern half. With its capital at Constantinople, the Byzantine Empire, as it became known, stayed relatively intact for nearly 1,000 years after the fall of Rome. However, it too eventually fell to the Ottomans on May 29, 1453, thus ending the last remnants of one of the most powerful empires in history.